What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a video about Nightingale, a survival crafting title that launched into early access just yesterday from the time of this video, that puts us in the role of a sort of Victorian fantasy setting where we will be traversing a variety of different realms in our quest for the last bastion of humanity, as it were, the city of Nightingale. So broadly speaking, I think Nightingale is certainly a game with a bit of promise, but definitely shows its early access leanings, with things like the combat being particularly janky and just a general lack of quality of life features, some of which are confirmed to be works in progress, such as using your crafting materials from your storage, just to give one example. To start from the beginning a little bit, this game takes place in a world where the Fae and human beings have cooperated for quite some time, sharing knowledge about magic, which, as always, pretty much, humans abused up until the point where something cataclysmic happened. In this case, a mysterious force known as the Pale spewed forth from their portals into the Feylands, taking over basically everything humanity had to offer, with the sole exception of the city of Nightingale. We would like to make our way there, however we are waylaid en route, and now we're going to have to bounce between a few different realms in order to actually arrive at our destination. This is going to see us traversing all sorts of areas, gathering materials, crafting things, fighting bosses, taking on quests even, and potentially building up an entire little community around yourself. Though first things first, when you actually fire the game up for the first time, you'll have to make a character, which is mostly cosmetic but does have some more interesting options as well. Though I will say some of the faces and things you can make are a bit of nightmare fuel. Though generally speaking, you'll pick the appearance, age, voice, and background of your character. The background, or their story, will determine some of their starting equipment. You can also determine their lineage to help you further define facial features, which I thought was an interesting touch. And you also have the option to change all of the usual suspects in terms of cosmetic choices. And then lastly, you will pick the difficulty. The difficulty plus your story determines your starting equipment as well as the specifics of your background story, though we'll have to see if that actually turns into anything in the future, because here in early access it doesn't appear to do anything beyond simply adjust your exact starting outfit, which you'll quickly abandon anyway. After which, though, we of course get chucked into the tutorial, which sees us meeting a Fae by the name of Puck, who just so happens to be helping us out for reasons seemingly unknown. This character introduces you to the idea of realm travel via cards, which gets slotted into a machine via a biome and a major card. These, in tandem, will determine exactly what realm you're about to step into, though the first few are preset, if you will, as they serve as our tutorial, teaching us the basics of the game. And in this regard, if you've ever played a survival crafting game, you'll certainly be right at home here. You'll simply gather materials from the surrounding area, potentially threats such as animals, etc., and then you'll turn those materials into usable items such as various structures, crafting workstations, buildings to get you out of the weather, because weather is certainly a thing. The second tutorial area shows off by leaving you to deal with the heat mechanic the game has, which can burn into your stamina. In addition to all that, you do of course have to watch out for individual stats such as hunger, as failing to feed and take care of your character can lead to unfortunate circumstances and quite easily death, though you will simply respawn upon dying. Minus your items, however. Then, once you've cleared out the tutorial, you'll be sent off to the Abeyance realm, or your sort of main hub area where you can build your proper settlement or community up, and where the main story gets a little more specific, pointing you in the direction of what you're probably going to need to do to find Nightingale. And this is likely where some of the quality of life issues are going to catch up with you if they hadn't already. That said, it is all very standard survival craft stuff, so I won't bore you with the details or get incredibly specific, but generally I think it is good for what it is, especially when you start diving into the essence and traits system. So the traits comes down to placing your buildings or your resources, such as your crafting tables, etc., in specific locations near and around each other, or simply in different weather conditions to provide a specific trait. Sometimes these are positive, sometimes they're negative, such as Sleeping outside while it is raining will decrease your comfort level, meaning your character won't be quite as prepared for their normal stuff as they rest and try to eat food and things to survive. But it's also possible to string, say, workstations together and around each other to give them bonuses instead of detriments. I wouldn't say it's exactly revolutionary or anything, but it's a nice little system in practice, and I enjoyed messing around with it. Now, while you'll be given a host of, I would say, basic crafting recipes to get you going, as you might expect, once you're actually ready to wander around a bit on your own outside of the tutorial areas, you'll eventually run into essence traders. You see, every item or material you pick up can be broken down into essence, which is then used to either repair your equipment or be traded off to essence traders who can give you new schematics and things like that to increase what you're able and allowed to build. But it's not just that, because in tracking down an essence trader, you're almost certainly going to run into a civilization or two, or a small community at the very least, and these particular individuals can be persuaded to help you out, provided you help them out in return, such as a small quest or some sort that upon completion allows you to recruit that individual to help you with your base via gathering resources, building individual things for you, and the list goes on. And in so doing, you might just restore a little bit of humanity out here to the Fey realms. But to leave it off on, let's talk a little bit about the defining feature here. So a goal of yours will be to get the sort of tarot cards that allow you to traverse different realms as you go. This is going to involve gearing your character up via the crafting, going and fighting specific bosses, and overall it's a decent gameplay loop. I think once they get all of the features such as quality of life improvements implemented, it'll be in a better state, but there's certainly potential here. I enjoyed the visuals quite a bit, for instance. There are a few glaring issues, I would say, especially with the combat. As I'm sure you've seen on screen up to this point, it's not exactly up to par, let's say, which isn't exactly surprising for the genre, but still. I would say it also takes a substantial amount of time for the game to get going. The first few areas are a little slow in plotting before they work up to the big thing with the portals and traversing different realms. On top of that, though, the game does require an internet connection, which has led to a little bit of launch day blues, as is almost always the case, as people were having trouble getting in. And given that you can play this game solo, and it is primarily a PvE experience, even if you group up and party with other characters, it seems a little silly to make a game like this an online-only requirement. Though if it's any consolation, you can actually play the game in third or first person, which is something I've been avoiding a bit in the video here, but it is certainly possible. That, though, is currently, I would say, everything there is to know about Nightingale. Again, I think it has a lot of promise, but it's very early in its early access period, and I think it'll be worth watching it over the course of that to see how it improves and grows. But I especially love the visuals, the art style, and honestly, even just the base story is decently engaging. For today, however, that is pretty much going to do it for this video. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. Let me know what you think about Nightingale down in the comment section below, which, of course, means to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. Personally, I am thinking that the survival crafting genre is a little bit crowded right now, with several releases just in the last couple months that have been very well received. So another one I don't think is necessarily high on people's to-do list right now. Regardless of all that, though, truly just thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.